The council chamber was quiet that morning. Ambassador Hana sat in her assigned seat, reviewing reports on her datapad. Around her, representatives from dozens of alien species did the same. The Galactic Council met every week, and most meetings were boring. Trade agreements, border disputes. Nothing exciting. Hana had been Earth's ambassador for 3 years now. She had learned to be patient with the Council's slow ways. Every decision took days of debate. Every action required votes and committees. That was how things worked in civilized space. The Krell ambassador clicked its mandibles, a sign of greeting. Hana nodded back. The Krell looked like giant insects with hard shells and multiple eyes. When Hana first met them, they scared her. Now they were just colleagues. Across the chamber, the Vorath representative glowed softly. The Vorath were made of living crystal, their bodies catching and bending light. They communicated through color changes. Right now, the Vorath showed calm blue tones. The session was about to begin when the alarm started. Red lights flashed around the chamber. A loud sound filled the air, making everyone look up. The head counselor, a tall being named Vesh, raised one hand. The noise stopped, but the red lights kept flashing. "Emergency transmission," Vesh announced, "from Osira Prime." Hana sat up straighter. Osira Prime was a Velen colony world. The Velens were peaceful people, gentle herbivores who never hurt anyone. They had soft fur and large eyes. They reminded Hana of rabbits, if rabbits could walk on 2 legs and build cities. "Play the transmission," Vesh ordered. The speakers crackled. Then came a voice, high and frightened, a Velen voice speaking in the common trade language. "This is Osira Prime. We are under attack. Unknown ships. They came without warning. They are taking our children. Please, someone help us. They are taking the children. Please!" The voice cut off. Then came another sound. It was crying, the sound of children crying in terror, screaming, begging for help. Hana's blood went cold. Around the chamber, strange things started happening. The Krell ambassador fell from its seat, its legs twitching. The Vorath's colors went wild, flashing between red and white. The Neem representative, who was normally a floating cloud of gas, suddenly dropped to the floor and stayed there. The crying continued. It played again, looping. Hana realized what was happening. Most species in the galaxy had never developed vocal distress calls. When their children were in danger, they used scent or color or touch to signal alarm. They had never heard sounds like this. The raw terror in those young voices was overloading their senses, but humans knew those sounds very well. Hana stood up. Her legs felt steady even though her hands were shaking. She walked to the center of the chamber while other ambassadors struggled to recover. "What is happening?" Vesh demanded, its voice weak. "Those are children," Hana said quietly. "Young ones. Scared. In pain." The crying looped again. Hana closed her eyes and counted. 5 different voices, 5 children that she could hear. How many more were there? "We must respond," she said. Vesh shook its head. "Protocol requires 72 hours of debate before military action. We must form a committee to study the situation. We must verify the transmission is real. We must—" 72 hours? Hana's voice was still quiet, but something in it made Vesh stop talking. "You want those children to wait 72 hours? "It is the law," Vesh said. "We cannot simply send ships without proper authorization. What if this is a trap? What if the situation is not as it seems? We must be careful." Hana looked around the chamber. Some ambassadors were recovering. Others still seemed confused by what they had heard. None of them looked ready to act. She thought about Earth, about human history, about all the times children had cried for help and no one came. Humans had promised themselves, never again. "I understand," Hana said to Vesh. She kept her voice calm and professional. "Please proceed with your committee." She walked back to her seat. She picked up her data pad. Her fingers moved across the screen, typing a message. She encoded it with Earth Fleet Command's highest priority cipher. The message was short. Code black. Children in danger. Coordinates attached. She hit send. On Earth, that code meant one thing. It meant stop everything. It meant move now. It meant someone small and helpless needed help, and nothing else mattered. Hana looked up at Vesh. If the council will excuse me, I am not feeling well. I need to return to my quarters. Vesh waved a hand, distracted. Yes. We will contact you when the committee is formed. Hana walked out of the chamber. Her steps were measured and calm. Inside, her heart was racing. She went to her private office and locked the door. Then she pulled up a secure channel to Earth. A face appeared on the screen. Admiral Inho, commander of Earth's defense fleet. I received your code black, Inho said. His face was hard. We are already moving. How long? Hana asked. 6 hours to Osira Prime. We are sending the Ghost Fleet. Hana felt something twist in her stomach. The Ghost Fleet. Those ships had been built 15 years ago, after Earth had learned about the darker parts of the galaxy. They learned that some species preyed on the weak, that some beings hurt children because children could not fight back. Humans had decided to build ships that could hunt the hunters, ships with no other purpose. They called them the Ghost Fleet because they were painted black and ran silent. They only deployed for one reason. The council will be angry, Hana said. Let them be angry, Inho replied. We will deal with politics after the children are safe. The screen went dark. Hana sat in her office. She could still hear the crying in her mind. Those voices would haunt her until she knew those children were safe. Above Earth, in the dark space behind the moon, lights began to turn on. 7 massive warships that had been sleeping in cold orbit started to wake up. Their reactors came online. Their weapons systems activated. Their engines began to glow. The Ghost Fleet was hunting. Far away on Osira Prime, the raiders were loading Velan children onto their ships. They laughed at how easy it was. The Velans were too weak to fight, too gentle to resist. Perfect victims. The raiders had no idea what was coming for them. They had never met humans before. They did not know what a death world was. They did not know what it meant when humans heard children crying. They were about to learn. Captain Day stood on the bridge of the Pale Rider and watched his crew prepare for launch. The bridge was dark, lit only by red emergency lights. That was how the Ghost Fleet operated. Dark and quiet. Status report, Day said. All systems online, his first officer replied. Weapons ready, engines at full power, the fleet is ready to jump. Day nodded. He had commanded the Pale Rider for 5 years. In that time, he had only deployed twice. Both times for Code Black situations. Both times they had arrived in time. He pulled up the transmission from Osira Prime on his screen. He forced himself to listen to the children crying. He needed to remember why they were doing this, why these ships existed. His tactical officer, a woman named Mina, looked over at him. Sir, we have clearance for departure. All ships. This is Pale Rider Actual, Day said into the fleet channel. We have children in danger. We will cross 40 light years in 6 hours. I know the route is dangerous. I know we will be pushing our engines past safe limits. But those children cannot wait. Does anyone have objections? 6 voices came back, one from each of the other Ghost Fleet captains. All said the same thing. No objections, sir. Let us hunt. Day allowed himself a small smile. These were the right people for this work. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Mark. The 7 ships vanished from Earth space. On another ship in the fleet, Commander Sora briefed her crew. The Silent Reaper was smaller than the Pale Rider, built for speed and precision strikes. Listen up, Sora said to her bridge crew. We have one job. Get to Osira Prime. Save the children. Kill or capture anyone who tries to stop us. A young officer raised his hand. "Commander, what about council protocols? What about rules of engagement?" Sora looked at him. Her expression was not angry, just sad. "There is only one rule today. The children go home safe. Everything else is secondary." The young officer swallowed and nodded. Sora understood his concern. The Ghost Fleet did not operate like normal military vessels. Normal ships had to warn enemies before firing. They had to give chances to surrender. They had to follow hundreds of rules about when and how to use force. The Ghost Fleet had different orders. When they deployed, it meant talking time was over. Sora remembered the first time she had heard about raiders who took children. It was 10 years ago, shortly after humans joined the galactic community. A human exploration ship had found a disabled raider vessel. Inside were cages. Small cages, meant for children from a dozen different species. The galaxy had traffickers, beings who stole children and sold them. Some buyers wanted slaves. Some wanted worse things. The raiders could do this because most species were not fighters. Most aliens had never evolved to be predators. Humans were different. When Earth's government learned about the traffickers, there had been a debate. Some people said it was not Earth's problem. Humans should not interfere in alien affairs. Others said the galaxy had rules and procedures for dealing with criminals. But then, someone had asked a simple question. If it was your child, would you want rescuers to wait for committees to meet? The Ghost Fleet had been approved within a week. Sora walked through her ship, checking on different stations. In the medical bay, Dr. Nari prepared beds and supplies. She would need to treat scared, traumatized children soon. "How many are we expecting?" Nari asked. "Unknown," Sora replied. "The transmission mentioned children being taken, but we do not know how many." Nari nodded. She had supplies ready for 50. She hoped that would be enough. In the drop bay, Lieutenant Yuna inspected her assault team, 20 soldiers in light combat armor. They checked weapons and equipment. "Listen up," Yuna said. "We hit fast and we hit hard, but remember, there will be hostages, scared children. Watch your backgrounds, watch your fire. We do not miss." The soldiers nodded. They had trained for this exact scenario dozens of times. Hostage rescue on foreign soil, overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. One soldier, a young man named Suho, looked nervous. This was his first real deployment with the Ghost Fleet. Yuna walked over to him. "You okay?" "Yes, ma'am," Suho said. I have a daughter. She is 5. When I heard that transmission—" "I know," Yuna said quietly. "We all heard it. That is why we are here. That is why we train. So that when children cry for help, someone comes." Suho straightened up. "I will not let them down." "None of us will," Yuna said. Back on the Pale Riders Bridge, Mina monitored their jump. "Captain, we are making good time. 5 hours until we reach Osira Prime." "What are we seeing on long-range sensors?" Day asked. "Multiple ships in orbit around the planet. They match known Krath raider signatures. Krath are a brutal species. Heavy armor, strong bodies. They make good pirates." Day pulled up information on the Krath. They were not part of the Galactic Council. They existed in the border regions, preying on weak targets. They had avoided human space so far. Today, that would change. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from Galactic Council," the communications officer said. "Ambassador Hana." Day took the call. Hana's face appeared on his screen. "Captain Day," she said, "the Council is demanding we turn back. They say we have violated 17 different treaties by deploying without authorization." "Noted," Day said. "Are we turning back?" "No," Hana replied. Her voice was firm. "But you need to know there will be consequences. Earth might face sanctions, trade restrictions, other penalties." "Will Earth survive these penalties?" Day asked. "Yes." "Will those children survive 72 hours of council debate?" Hana was quiet for a moment. "No." Probably not. Then we continue, Day said. We will face the consequences after the children are safe. Hana nodded. I knew you would say that. Good hunting, Captain. The transmission ended. Day looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting to see if he would change course. We continue, he said simply. The bridge crew returned to their stations. No one questioned the order. 4 hours later, the Ghost Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Osira Prime system. The planet appeared on their screens, a green and blue world, beautiful, peaceful, and surrounded by raider ships. I count 9 vessels, Mina reported. All Krath design, heavy weapons, strong shields. They are built for combat. So are we, Day said. All ships, go silent. I want full stealth protocols. We are ghosts. They will not see us until it is too late. The 7 human warships shut down all non-essential systems. They stopped broadcasting. Their hulls, already black, became invisible against the darkness of space. On the planet's surface, the Krath raiders were loading the last of the Velen children onto their transport ships. The raid had gone perfectly. The Velens had barely resisted. Why would they? They were prey animals, not fighters. The Krath commander watched his soldiers work. This had been easy money. They would sell these children to buyers in the outer sectors. The Velens were cute enough to fetch good prices. His sensor officer suddenly looked up. Commander, I am detecting... Wait, sensors just went dark. What do you mean, dark? The commander growled. I mean everything. Orbital sensors, communications, tracking systems, all offline. The commander felt a tingle of worry. Get them back online, now! But it was too late. In the darkness of space, 7 black ships emerged from silence, their targeting systems locked onto every raider vessel simultaneously. Captain Day opened a single channel. He spoke in the Krath language. Release the children. Leave this world. You have one chance. The Krath commander laughed. Who dares threaten us? We are Krath. We fear no one. Day closed the channel. He looked at Mina. Fire. The Ghost Fleet opened fire. The first raider ship died in 3 seconds. The Krath had built their shields to stop energy weapons. Lasers, plasma bolts, particle beams. That was how most species fought in space. Energy against energy. Humans used metal. A kinetic projectile traveling at 0.3% of light speed hit the raider ship's shield. The shield did nothing. It was not designed to stop solid matter moving that fast. The projectile punched through the shield, through the hull, and out the other side. The ship broke apart. Target destroyed, Mina reported. Her voice was calm. Moving to target 2. Around the planet, 8 more raider ships tried to respond. Their captains shouted orders. Their crews ran to weapon stations, but they could not find their enemy. The Ghost Fleet ships were invisible on sensors, black shapes against black space. Another kinetic round fired. Another raider ship exploded. Captain Day watched the tactical display. Target their engines, not their reactors. I want prisoners for interrogation. We need to know if this is an isolated raid or part of a larger network. Acknowledged, Mina said. Her fingers moved across her console. Adjusting targeting solutions. The 3rd and 4th raider ships lost their engines. They went dark, drifting in space, disabled but intact. On the 5th raider ship, the Krath captain finally understood what was happening. These were not council ships. Council vessels gave warnings. They followed rules. They allowed surrenders. These ships were something else. Full power to rear shields, the captain screamed. Retreat! Get us out of here! But the Ghost Fleet had positioned themselves perfectly. Every escape route was covered. Every direction had a human warship waiting. The 5th ship tried to turn. A kinetic round hit its engine. The ship stopped. 90 seconds had passed since the first shot. 8 raider ships were disabled or destroyed. 1 remained. The last Krath captain was smarter than the others, or maybe just more desperate. He opened a communication channel. Wait! We surrender! We will release the children. Just stop firing. Day considered. Part of him wanted to destroy that last ship, too. These raiders had made children cry. They had planned to sell them. They deserved no mercy. But he was a soldier, not a murderer, and they still needed information. All ships. Cease fire, Day ordered. He opened a channel to the raider. You will power down all weapons. You will allow boarding. Any trick, any delay, and you join your friends as debris. Understood? Understood, the craft captain said quickly. Day switched to the fleet channel. Pale Rider will secure the remaining vessel. All other ships begin landing operations. Get those children. Acknowledged, Commander Sora replied from the Silent Reaper. My team is ready. On the Silent Reaper's drop bay, Lieutenant Yuna and her soldiers prepared for descent. They climbed into drop pods, small armored capsules that would carry them from orbit to the surface. Remember the briefing, Yuna said over the team channel. The main raider compound is in the capital city. Intelligence suggests they are holding the children in a warehouse near the spaceport. We go in fast. We secure the children first. Then we deal with the raiders. What if they resist? Suho asked. Then we show them why humans are called Deathworlders, Yuna replied. The drop pods launched. On the planet's surface, the Krath raiders were confused. Their ships in orbit had gone silent. No one was responding to communications. Some of the raiders thought maybe there had been a technical problem. Others were starting to worry. In the warehouse, 50 Velen children huddled together in cages. They were scared. Many were crying. Their parents had been taken away. Strange, violent beings had grabbed them and put them in these small spaces. The oldest child, a Velen girl, about 12 years old in human terms, tried to keep the younger ones calm. It will be okay, she whispered. Help will come. My mother said the council always helps. But she did not really believe it. She had heard the raiders talking. They planned to leave this world soon, to take the children somewhere far away. Outside, a Krath guard heard a strange sound, a whistle getting louder. He looked up. 20 drop pods hit the ground around the compound. They hit hard, sending up clouds of dust. Before the dust settled, the pods opened and soldiers emerged. Yuna was first out. She took in the situation in a second. 10 Krath guards visible. Probably more inside. The warehouse was a simple building, one floor, multiple entrances. Team Alpha, secure the perimeter, she ordered. Team Bravo with me. We are going in. The Krath guards finally realized they were under attack. They raised their weapons, heavy plasma rifles designed for their large bodies. They never got a chance to fire. Human soldiers moved fast, faster than the Krath expected. Humans were smaller than Krath, but they were from a high-gravity world. Their muscles were dense. Their reflexes were sharp. One guard aimed at Yuna. She was already moving, sliding under his line of fire. Her rifle came up. A 3-round burst hit the guard's weapon, destroying it. He dropped it, shocked. Down on the ground, Yuna shouted in the Krath language. Now! The guard looked at her. She was half his size. He was armored. He was strong. He could crush her. He reached for her. Yuna pivoted and kicked. Her boot hit his knee joint. The guard howled and fell. Before he could recover, Yuna had restraints on him. Anyone else want to try? She asked the other guards. They put their hands up. Smart choice, Yuna said. Suho, secure them. Everyone else, find those children. The team swept through the warehouse. They found the children quickly. The Velen young ones pressed against the back of their cages, terrified. These new beings were also wearing armor. Were they more bad people? Yuna removed her helmet. She wanted the children to see her face. It is okay, she said softly in the trade language. We are here to help. We are going to take you home to your parents. The oldest Velen girl looked at Yuna. Are you from the council? No, Yuna said. We are from Earth. We heard you were in trouble, so we came. But Earth is so far away, the girl said. Yuna smiled. It was a sad smile. When children are in danger, no place is too far away. She opened the cage. The children hesitated, then slowly came out. Some were crying. Others just looked shocked. Dr. Neri arrived with medical supplies. She began checking the children for injuries. Most were just scared and dehydrated. The raiders had not seriously hurt them. Yet. They had been planning to sell them intact. Outside, more drop pods were landing. Soldiers secured the spaceport and the surrounding area. There was minimal resistance. Most raiders surrendered as soon as they saw human soldiers. A few Krath tried to fight. They learned quickly why fighting Deathworlders was a bad idea. One large Krath warrior, almost 3 meters tall, decided to test himself against a human soldier. The human was a woman named Bora, barely 160 centimeters tall. The Krath swung his massive fist. Bora ducked under it, stepped close, and struck his midsection 3 times. The Krath's armor absorbed the first hit. The second hit cracked it. The third hit went through. The Krath fell to his knees, wheezing. "Stay down," Bora advised him. He stayed down. Within 20 minutes, the entire compound was secure. Every raider was in restraints. Every child was free. Lieutenant Yuna contacted Captain Day. "Ground team to Pale Rider. Compound secure. We have 50 children, all alive. Some injuries, mostly minor. No human casualties." "Outstanding work, Lieutenant," Day replied. "Transport ships are on the way. Get those children to medical." Yuna looked around the warehouse. Her soldiers were giving the children water and emergency rations. Dr. Nari was treating a small Velen who had a cut on his arm. The child was smiling at her. This was why the Ghost Fleet existed. For moments like this. "Yuna," one of her soldiers called. "We found something." She walked over. The soldier had found a computer terminal. On the screen was a list of names and locations. "It is a network," the soldier said. "This was not just a random raid. These raiders are part of a trafficking organization. They have bases in 12 different systems." Yuna felt her jaw tighten. "Copy everything. Send it to intelligence. We will hunt down every single one of these bases." "Yes, ma'am." Above the planet, Captain Day received the same information. He looked at the data and felt a cold anger settle in his chest. 12 bases. Dozens of raids over the past 30 years. Hundreds, maybe thousands of children taken. And the Galactic Council had done nothing. "Sir," Mina said quietly, "what do we do with this information?" Day thought about it. Then he smiled. It was not a nice smile. "We give it to Ambassador Hana. Let her show the Council what their 72-hour debate periods cost." The transport ships arrived and began taking the children back to their families. The Velen parents, who had been forced away, were brought to the landing site. The reunion was everything the Ghost Fleet had hoped for. Parents clutching their children crying, but this time from happiness and relief. Families whole again. The oldest Velen girl found her mother in the crowd. They held each other and cried. "The humans came," the girl said. "They came so fast." Her mother looked over at the human soldiers. They stood at a distance, giving the families space. She walked over to Yuna. "Thank you," the Velen woman said. Her voice broke. "Thank you for saving my daughter." Yuna knelt down so she was at eye level with the much shorter alien. "You do not need to thank us. This is what we do." "But why?" the woman asked. "We are nothing to Earth. We have no treaty, no agreement. Why risk so much for us?" Yuna looked at the children playing nearby, finally safe. "Because someone had to." 3 days after the rescue, Ambassador Hana stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was packed. Representatives from every member species filled the seats. They were all talking, their voices creating a loud buzz of sound. Hana stood alone at the center podium. She wore her formal diplomatic uniform. She kept her hands relaxed at her sides, her expression calm. But inside, She was preparing for battle. Senior Counselor Vesh called the chamber to order. The talking stopped. "Ambassador Hana," Vesh said. His voice was cold. "You are here to answer for Earth's actions at Osira Prime. Your military forces invaded a sovereign system without council authorization. You deployed weapons banned under the Treaty of Peaceful Commerce. You used lethal force against beings who had not been tried or convicted of crimes." Hana listened. She did not interrupt. "The Council has reviewed the evidence," Vesh continued. "Earth violated 17 different treaties and protocols. This is not acceptable. We are a civilization of laws. If every species acted without Council approval, we would have chaos." The Krell ambassador clicked its mandibles in agreement. Other representatives made their species signs of approval. "Earth must face consequences," Vesh said. "We propose the following sanctions: suspension of Earth's voting rights for 5 years, a ban on human military vessels entering Council space, and financial penalties totaling 1 trillion credits." Murmurs of approval ran through the chamber. "Furthermore," Vesh added, "we demand that Earth surrender its Ghost Fleet vessels to Council control. These weapons are too dangerous to remain in human hands." Hana finally spoke. "No." The chamber went silent. "No?" Vesh repeated. "You refuse the Council's judgment?" "I refuse the sanctions," Hana said clearly. "And Earth will never surrender the Ghost Fleet." "Then you leave us no choice," Vesh said. "We will vote on expelling Earth from the Galactic Council entirely." "Do it," Hana replied. "But before you vote, you should know something. While you spent 3 days debating what to do about Earth's actions, we spent 3 days investigating the raiders." She pulled up a data file and sent it to every representative's display. "The raiders we captured were not independent criminals," Hana explained. "They were part of a trafficking network. A network that has operated in Council space for 30 years. The representatives looked at their displays. Hana could see their reactions: shock, disbelief, horror. 12 bases, Hana continued. 17 different raider groups. Over 3,000 children stolen from 15 different species. The network kept detailed records. They knew where to strike. They knew which worlds had weak defenses. They knew which systems the Council did not patrol well." The chamber was very quiet now. "We also found financial records," Hana said. "The network had buyers, wealthy beings from multiple Council species. They purchased stolen children. Some wanted slaves, some wanted—" She paused. "I will not describe what some wanted. The records are available if you wish to review them." No one wanted to review them. "This network operated for 3 decades, Hana said. "How many distress calls did the Council receive in that time? How many times did victims beg for help? And how many times did you hold debates and form committees while children waited?" Vesh's face showed discomfort. "We followed proper procedures. We cannot simply send military forces every time someone makes a claim. We must verify. We must investigate. We must—" "You must protect the helpless," Hana interrupted. "That is the first duty of any civilization. Not trade agreements, not border protocols. Protection." "We do protect," Vesh argued, "but we must be measured. We cannot overreact." "Is that what we did?" Hana asked. "We overreacted? Tell that to the 50 Velen children who are home with their families right now. Tell them we overreacted." "The Velens should have waited for proper Council response," another representative said. It was a Trell, a species that looked like walking fish. "That is what protocols are for." "How long should they have waited?" Hana asked. "The raiders were loading children onto ships. They would have jumped to another system within hours. Once gone, those children would have vanished forever into the trafficking network." "But you needed 72 hours for debate. What would you have found after 72 hours? An empty world and grieving parents." "You cannot know that," the Trell argued. "Yes, I can," Hana said quietly. "Because we found 20 other cases in the network's files. 20 times raiders hit isolated colonies. 20 times distress signals were sent, and 20 times the council was too slow. Do you know what happened to those children? Would you like to see the records? The Trell representative said nothing. Hana looked around the chamber. You want to punish Earth because we make you uncomfortable, because we have weapons you fear, because we do not wait for committees to meet before we act. But the real question is, why do humans need to be the ones who respond? Why, in a galaxy of thousands of species, is it always the Deathworlders who have to save the children? Because you are violent, Vesh said. You come from a dangerous world. You evolved as predators. You see force as the first solution, not the last. No, Hana replied. We see force as the appropriate solution when children are being hurt. There is a difference. She pulled up another file. This is a message we received from the Velen government. They have formally requested that Earth establish a defense treaty with them. They do not want council protection anymore. They want human protection. Gasps echoed through the chamber. You are stealing our member species, Vesh accused. We are not stealing anyone, Hana said. They are choosing, and they are not the only ones. Since the Osira Prime rescue, Earth has received 14 similar requests from other species. Small worlds, peaceful people. They want to know that if they cry for help, someone will come. Not in 72 hours, not after committees and debates, immediately. The door to the council chamber opened. Everyone turned. A group of Velens entered. They were led by Elder Oris, the leader of their delegation. And behind him walked 300 Velen children, the ones the Ghost Fleet had rescued. The children were all wearing simple robes. Each carried a drawing, pictures they had made of the rescue, pictures of black ships in space, pictures of human soldiers with kind faces. Elder Oris walked slowly to the center of the chamber. He was old, and his movements were careful. When he reached Hana, he turned to face the council. You debate whether Earth should be punished, Oris said. His voice was soft, but it carried through the silent chamber. You talk about protocols and procedures, so let me tell you what Earth gave us. He gestured to the children. These are our future, our sons and daughters. The raiders took them. We sent a distress signal to the council. We begged for help. And what did the council give us? A promise to form a committee, a promise to review the situation in 72 hours. Oris looked at Vesh. Do you know what Earth gave us? They gave us our children back. In 6 hours. Before the raiders could leave our system. Before our babies could be taken somewhere we could never find them. The chamber was silent. Some representatives looked ashamed. One of the children, the oldest girl who had been the first rescued, walked up to Hana. She held out her drawing. It showed a black ship with wings, hovering over a small green planet. Thank you, the girl said in the trade language. Then, one by one, all 300 children said the same thing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It echoed through the chamber. Hana knelt down and took the drawing. She felt her eyes getting wet, but she did not cry. Not yet. You are welcome, she said. The children filed out. Elder Oris remained. The council gave us protocol, he said. Earth gave us our future. Now you decide. Do you punish the ones who actually helped? Or do you ask yourselves why protocols mattered more than children? He turned and left. The chamber erupted into shouting. Some representatives supported Earth, others demanded sanctions. The debate raged for hours. Finally, Vesh called for order. We will vote. All in favor of sanctions against Earth? Hands rose. Hana counted. About 40% of the chamber. All opposed? More hands rose. About 40% again. The rest abstained. Vesh looked frustrated. The measure fails. No sanctions will be imposed. Hana felt relief, but she did not show it. However, Vesh continued, We cannot allow this incident to set precedent. The Council must discuss how to handle similar situations in the future. Hana stepped forward. Then I have a proposal. Vesh looked wary. What proposal? Earth will share the Ghost Fleet specifications with any Council species who wants them. We will train mixed species rapid response teams. And we will establish a new protocol. Any distress signal involving children or other helpless beings will receive immediate authorization for military response. No committee, no debate, immediate action. That is too dangerous, Vesh argued. What if the distress signal is false? What if it is a trap? Then we spring the trap and deal with it, Hana said. But we do not leave children waiting while we verify authenticity. The risk of acting is smaller than the cost of not acting. You cannot know that, Vesh said. Yes, I can, Hana replied. We have 30 years of data from the trafficking network. We know exactly what the cost of not acting is. We have names, faces, 3,000 children who would be alive and free if someone had acted faster. The chamber was quiet again. A new voice spoke up. It was the Vorath representative, the crystalline being who usually stayed silent. I support this proposal, the Vorath said. Their colors shifted to show determination. My species does not understand childhood as you do, but we understand loss. We understand that protocols should serve people, not the other way around. Other voices joined in. One by one, representatives began supporting the proposal. Vesh saw the way the vote would go. Very well. We will draft new protocols, but Earth must promise to work with the Council, not against it. Hana nodded. We will work with anyone who wants to protect the innocent. That has always been our goal. The vote passed. Later, Hana stood alone in her office. She looked at the drawing the Velen girl had given her. A black ship saving a green world. She thought about all the debates and arguments, all the politics and procedures, and she thought about 300 children who were home tonight because someone had ignored all of that and just acted. Her datapad beeped, a message from Captain Day. All Ghost Fleet vessels returning to Earth. Mission successful. 0 human casualties. 50 children saved. Good work, Ambassador. Hana smiled. Sometimes, she thought, the right choice was also the simple choice. When children cried for help, you went. Everything else could wait. 3 months had passed since Osira Prime. Captain Day stood in the training facility on Luna, watching the first class of mixed-species rapid response cadets. There were 20 beings in the class. 10 were human. The rest came from different council species who had volunteered to join the new program. Again, Day called out. From the beginning. The cadets ran through the exercise. It was a hostage rescue scenario. They had to clear a building, neutralize threats, and secure victims. All within 10 minutes. Most of the human cadets completed it easily. They had trained their whole lives in Earth's high gravity. Their bodies were built for this kind of work. The alien cadets struggled. A Velen cadet named Toma collapsed halfway through. He was breathing hard, his fur soaked with sweat. Day walked over and helped him up. You okay? I am sorry, Captain, Toma gasped. I am not strong enough. I cannot keep up with the humans. You are not supposed to keep up with humans, Day said. You are supposed to use your own strengths. What strengths? Toma asked bitterly. Velens are not fighters. We are prey animals. We freeze when frightened. We run from danger. We are useless in combat. Day considered this. Then he made a decision. Follow me, he said. He led Toma to a different training room. Inside, Lieutenant Yuna was working with another group of cadets on stealth techniques. Yuna, Day called. I need you to show Toma something. Yuna walked over. What do you need, sir? Show him your approach technique, the one you used at Osira Prime. Yuna nodded. She moved to one end of the room. At the other end stood a training dummy with sensors. The goal was to reach the dummy without triggering the sensors. Yuna moved. She was fast and quiet, but the sensors still detected her 3 times before she reached the dummy. "Now you try," Day said to Toma. Toma looked confused. "But I—" "Just try," Day said. Toma moved toward the dummy. He moved like a Velen, which meant he moved carefully, silently. His people had evolved to avoid predators. They knew how to move without being noticed. He reached the dummy. The sensors had not detected him once. "How did you do that?" Yuna asked, genuinely impressed. Toma looked surprised. "I just walked normally." "Your normal is better than our best," Day said. "That is what I mean about strengths. Humans are strong and fast, but we are loud. We cannot move the way you do. In a hostage situation, we need someone who can get close without being detected. That is you." Toma stood straighter. "I can be useful?" "You already are," Day replied. Over the next weeks, they developed new training methods. Instead of making aliens act like humans, they taught mixed teams to use each member's natural abilities. Velens became scouts and stealth specialists. The Krell, with their hard shells and multiple limbs, became excellent at securing perimeters. The Vorath could sense electromagnetic fields, making them perfect for detecting hidden weapons. Humans remained the heavy combat specialists. When force was needed, they provided it. But they learned they did not always need to be first through the door. In another part of Luna, Engineer Tay worked with alien scientists on a new project. They were building a detection network to find trafficking operations before they could strike. "The problem is power," Tay explained to his team. "We need sensors in thousands of systems. But most species do not have enough ships to patrol everywhere." A Vorath scientist, whose name translated roughly as Clarity, suggested a solution. "What if we use passive sensors? Devices that just listen and watch. They do not need large ships. We can hide them on asteroids and moons." "That could work," Tay said, excited. "We spread thousands of small sensors across Council space. When they detect suspicious activity, they alert the nearest rapid response team." They built the first prototype. It was a small device, no bigger than a human hand. It could detect ship movements, scan communications, and identify known criminal vessels. Within a month, they had deployed 10,000 sensors. Within 2 months, they had caught 3 different trafficking operations before they could complete their raids. Commander Sora led one of the interception missions. Her team, now including 2 Velens and a Krell, stopped a raider group targeting a colony world. The raiders were captured before they even reached the planet. "This is working," Sora reported to Admiral Inho. "We are getting ahead of the problem instead of just reacting to it." "Good," Inho replied. "But stay alert. The traffickers will adapt. They always do." He was right. A month later, a new type of raider appeared. They did not use ships the sensors recognized. They used civilian transports, disguised as legitimate traders. They hit fast and jumped out before anyone could respond. But humans had planned for this too. Ambassador Hana introduced a new program at the Council. It was called the Safe Haven Initiative. Any world that felt threatened could request a human protection team. Small groups of soldiers would be stationed on vulnerable worlds, ready to respond immediately to any threat. "This is occupation," Vesh protested. "You are putting human military forces on sovereign worlds." "Only if they request it," Hana corrected, "and only if they want it. No one is forced." 30 worlds requested protection in the first week, 50 more in the second week. The traffickers found that their easy targets were no longer easy. On a small colony world called Mirren's Hope, a trafficking ship landed in the middle of the night. The raiders thought they would have hours to grab victims before anyone could respond. They had 3 minutes. A human protection team led by Sergeant Jiho was on the planet. They had been training with local security forces. When the raiders landed, Jiho's team was already moving. The raiders found themselves surrounded before they even left their ship. They surrendered without firing a shot. "This is not fair," one raider complained as Ji-Ho put him in restraints. "You were not supposed to be here." "That is the point," Ji-Ho replied. The word spread through the criminal networks. Stay away from protected worlds. The humans were there, and they did not play by the old rules. Slowly, the number of attacks decreased. Traffickers found easier targets outside Council space, or they found different criminal work, or they got caught. The galaxy was becoming safer. One evening, Ambassador Hana received a visitor in her office. It was Elder Oris from the Velen delegation. He was carrying a package. "Ambassador," he said, "I wanted to give you something." He opened the package. Inside was a statue carved from Velen wood. It showed a human soldier kneeling down, reaching out a hand. Standing before the soldier was a small Velen child, no longer afraid. "We put one like this in every Velen city," Oris explained, "so we never forget. So our children always know, when we needed help, someone came." Hana felt her throat tighten. "Elder Oris, this is beautiful, but we were just doing what anyone should do." "But not anyone did," Oris said gently. "Only humans. Only the Deathworlders who could have said it was not their problem. You chose to care. That is what we honor." After Oris left, Hana sat alone with the statue. She thought about the past 3 months, the missions, the rescues, the lives saved. Her datapad showed new requests. More worlds wanting protection. More species asking to join the rapid response teams. More volunteers wanting to be trained. The galaxy was changing. On Earth, in a small house in Seoul, Dr. Nari sat with her family. Her daughter, 6 years old, played with toys on the floor. "Mama, where did you go?" the daughter asked. "You were away for a long time." "I was helping some children who were scared," Nari replied, "making sure they could go home to their families just like I came home to you." "Were they far away?" "Very far away, on a different planet." "Wow," the daughter said. She went back to playing. Nari's husband put a hand on her shoulder. "How do you do it? How do you see those things and then come home and be normal?" "I do not know if I am normal anymore," Nari admitted. "But I keep going because those children deserve to be normal. They deserve to play and grow up and not be afraid. Someone has to make sure they get that chance." "And it has to be you?" "It has to be someone," Nari said. "It might as well be me." On Luna, the Ghost Fleet rested in their dark orbits. The ships were quiet now, their weapons cold, their crews on leave. But their systems were always ready, always watching, always waiting for the next call. Captain Day stood on the observation deck, looking at the black ships floating against the stars. They were beautiful in their own way, simple, honest, built for one purpose. "Do you think we will need them again?" Lieutenant Yuna asked. She had come to stand beside him. "Yes," Day said. "There will always be predators. There will always be those who hurt the helpless. As long as children can cry for help, we will need ships like these." "But maybe less often now," Yuna suggested. "With the new systems in place, the protection teams, the sensor network, maybe we are actually stopping it before it starts." "Maybe," Day agreed. He wanted to believe that. "But we stay ready anyway." "Always," Yuna said. Back at the Galactic Council, Vesh stood in his private office, looking at reports. The numbers were clear. Trafficking incidents were down 70%. Child abductions had dropped to near zero in protected systems. Even in unprotected systems, criminals were more cautious. It was working. The human methods were working. Vesh had opposed them. He had argued for patience, for protocols, for proper procedures, and he had been wrong. He thought about the Velen children, 300 young ones who would have vanished if the council had followed proper procedures. How many other children over the decades? How many had waited for committees that took too long? He made a decision. Vesh pulled up a communication channel to Ambassador Hana. "Ambassador," he said when she answered, "I want to formally apologize. You were right. The Council should have acted faster, should have protected better. I let procedure become more important than people." Hana looked surprised. "Counselor Vesh, I appreciate that." "I am also proposing a new council position," Vesh continued. "An ombudsman for the helpless, someone whose job is to cut through procedure when protection is needed. I would like to recommend you for that position." Hana smiled. "Thank you, but no. I am more useful working with the rapid response teams. But I know someone perfect for the job." "Who?" "Elder Oris. He understands what it means to wait for help that comes too late. He will make sure no one waits like that again." Vesh nodded slowly. "That is a good choice." The communication ended. Vesh looked out his window at the council complex. Ships from 100 species moved through the space around it. The galaxy was safer today than it was 3 months ago, and it was safer because humans had refused to wait, had refused to follow rules that let children suffer. Maybe, Vesh thought, there was something to learn from Deathworlders after all. Far away on a quiet colony world, the Velen girl who had been the first rescued sat with her mother. They watched the sunset together, something she thought she would never see again. "Mama," the girl said, "if someone else needs help, will the humans come for them too?" Her mother hugged her close. "Yes, baby, they will. They promised, and humans keep their promises." The girl smiled. She felt safe. For the first time since the raiders came, she felt truly safe. Above them, too far away to see, a small sensor drifted on a distant moon. It watched. It listened. It waited. And in orbit around Earth's moon, 7 black ships slept. But their systems hummed quietly, always ready. Because somewhere in the galaxy a child might cry for help. And when they did, the Deathworlders would come. Not in 72 hours, not after debate. Immediately. That was the promise. That was the covenant. No child waits alone. Not anymore.